Hey there, 5-6. We're going to get started with our last lesson in our series on second chances. And before I jump in, I want for you to grab a piece of paper and a pen. Do it. I need you to go grab a piece of paper and a pen and come back. And I'm going to continue on with your instructions. Go ahead, do it. Okay, now that you all have your piece of paper and your pen, I want you to write down the qualifications for one of Jesus's closest disciples. Does that make sense? So what does this disciple need to do in order to follow Jesus? Think about the ideal skills, the abilities, talents, and strengths for that person. What must they possess in order to be a close disciple of Jesus? I'm going to give you a couple of minutes and we'll get started with our lesson. Imagine being one of those people who walked and talked with Jesus. You saw miracles, you heard him preach and teach, and you watched huge crowds follow him. What would have been the most amazing part for you and why? How would it be possible for anyone who had closely followed Jesus to deny knowing him or being one of his followers? Peter was one of Jesus's closest followers and had an impressive list of qualifications, probably like those qualifications you wrote out. He literally walked on water. Jesus said he was a foundation on which the church would be built. And he had a front row seat to countless miracles. And he recognized that Jesus was the Son of God. But yet, even Peter made a big mistake and needed a second chance. Our story today comes from Matthew 26, verses 31 through 35, 69 through 75, and then jumping over to the book of John, chapter 21, verses 15 through 17. Because those are short verses, I'm going to read them for you. You can pull it up on your own, that's fine, but I'm going to go over it right now. So we're going to start in Matthew chapter 26, verses 31 through 35. On the way, Jesus told them, "Tonight all of you will desert me, for the scriptures say God will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have been raised from the dead, I will go ahead of you to Galilee and meet you there." Peter declared, "Even if everyone else deserts you, I will never desert you." Jesus replied, "I tell you the truth, Peter, this very night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times, that you will deny 3 times that you even know me." "No," Peter insisted, "even if I have to die with you, I will never deny you." And all the other disciples vowed the same. Now we're jumping to Matthew 26, verses 69 through 75. Meanwhile, Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard. A servant girl came over and said to him, "You were the one of those with Jesus, the Galilean." But Peter denied it in front of everyone. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. Later, out by the gate, another servant girl noticed him and said to those standing around, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." Again, Peter denied it, this time with an oath. "I don't even know the man," he said. A little later, some of the other bystanders came over to Peter and said, "You must be one of them. We can tell by your Galilean accent." Peter swore, A curse on me if I'm lying. I don't know the man. And immediately the rooster crowed. Suddenly, Jesus' words flashed through Peter's mind. Before the rooster crows, you will deny 3 times that you even know me. And he went away weeping bitterly. Now we're going to jump to John to see how Jesus responds. We're going to go to John chapter 21, verses 15 through 17. After breakfast, Jesus asked Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Yes, Lord, Peter replied. You know I love you. Then feed my lambs, Jesus told him. Jesus repeated the question, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Yes, Lord, Peter said, you know I love you. Then take care of my sheep, Jesus said. A third time he asked him, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was hurt that Jesus asked the question yet a third time. He said, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. Jesus said, then feed my sheep. Let's jump in and see what we can learn from these verses about the power of a second chance. So the first point I want to call out is that with Jesus, failure is never final. I'm going to post some questions on the screen. I want you to take time to pause the video and answer those questions. It would have been really easy for most people in Jesus's situation to be mad at Peter and want nothing to do with him in the future, right? Peter denied Jesus 3 times when he promised he would never do that. So wouldn't Peter do it again? Fortunately, Jesus isn't like us. He is all about giving a second chance. His love is more powerful than our failures and our mistakes. Here's the second point I want to point out, 5-6. Jesus doesn't use guilt and shame. I'm going to post some questions on the screen. I want you to pause the video and answer them on your own. Thankfully, 5-6, Jesus set an example not just for Peter, but for us as well on how to handle situations where we might be prepared to use guilt and shame against someone else. Jesus chose to use genuine, real love instead. Here's my third point. With Jesus, restoration leads to opportunity. Again, I'm going to post some questions on the screen and I want you to pause the video and take time to answer them on your own. The opportunity of a second chance can be one of the most freeing things to ever happen to someone. Instead of feeling weighed down with guilt and shame, we feel motivated by love and by grace. We feel ready to follow God's plan and do things that give God honor. I'm going to post some additional discussion questions I want you to pause the video and take time to answer them on your own. That's all I got for today. See you next time, 5-6.